Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today it's time to go over a changelog and also a datamine which is going along with it. One of the reasons why it's useful going over datamines along with the changelogs themselves is sometimes there's a bunch of hidden changes which go through which aren't obviously talked about in the datamines. So it's time to go through them, time to have a bit of fun and see what is going on. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and also like the video. So the update today, which is update 2.25.0.44, is heavily centered around radar AA. The basic reason is there's been a bunch of stuff which just hasn't been working with them since the update came out, which is why it's been very hard to actually get a grasp on whether the Panzer is actually as good as it was on the dev server. It didn't have a lot of the features that it had on the dev server working properly, and it was very odd to see what was going on. They also silently buffed a few of the other AAs at high tier while going along with it, which is why, once again, it hasn't really been in the conversations most of the time. One of the things that also has happened in ground vehicles is laser warning sensors in random battles have been restored. This was something which was heavily talked about a few days ago. People believed it was only affecting specific vehicles, and therefore claims of bias were being thrown around the place as usual. But no, it was just a system that wasn't working for anybody. For some reason, we don't know why, it just wasn't. So, yeah, now it's been restored. It would be really nice if the Gaijin team basically say what was the issue with it, because they've done the same thing with aviation as well. They also fixed a bug where the activated cruise control mode was not displayed, and also they fixed where the destroyed antenna of SAM SPAGs continued to rotate, which is quite funny. For the Panzer, they fixed a bunch of things, so they prevented the radar from tracking air-to-surface missiles and aircraft bombs. That's been fixed now. There was also an issue where the search radar was unable to detect low-flying targets. That's been solved. And also an incorrect display of radar scanning cone angles has been fixed too. The scan time of the search radar in different modes has also been adjusted. Basically, for the smaller cone, it's 2 seconds, larger 4, and larger than that, 8. So we'll have to see how that affects the gameplay. The Tor also has a bug fixed with the incorrect display of the radar cone on the search radar. And also, the scan time has been changed for each of the modes. 1 second for 0 to 12, 3 for 0 to 32, and 0 to 64 is now 6 seconds, so very similar to the Panzer. Then the Flarak has 2 things changed, so it has a bug fixed that disabled the tracking radar after switching off the search radar, and also the IRST distance has been increased from 10 to 15 kilometers. So much more effective compared to what it was before, closing the gap between a lot of the high tier AAs. The ITO 90 has exactly the same change for the IRST, and then the Tunguska, the ADATs also have their IRST distance increased, but to 12 kilometers instead of 10, so therefore detection should be a little bit easier for them. The Tungi gets a few other changes as well. The 2S6, of course, the tracking radar distance has been increased from 10 to 13. The search radar scan cone angles has been increased from 15 to 20. And also the IRST angles have been increased from plus and minus 20 to plus and minus 134 horizontal, and from minus to plus 80 to minus 12 plus 84 on the vertical. So some big busts to the Tunguska, at least when it comes to its radar. We'll have to see if that affects its overall play. The Levad Type 93, Macbeth, Sidam, and also Sidam Mistral. The incorrect IRST distance in the X-ray mode, and the battle has been fixed, so now it's been increased to 10 kilometers. Don't think that'll really change most of these vehicles, because obviously they're very reliant on IR missiles, which generally don't have that type of range anyway. The Type 91 SAM, the autopilot has been improved. The missile dynamic adjusted, and also sensitivity of the contact fuse has been increased. Let's hope that's the case. I'm always worried about that one. Basically, that's the missile which is on the good old, the Type 93, I believe. It's the one which has gone through a bunch of different changes, and overall has always had its issues in the game of being useful, making the Type 93 basically just a go-kart with nothing else. As I said before, in aviation, the laser warning sensors in random battles have been restored, just like they did in ground, and the distance of all radar warning systems has been increased 2 or 3 times against radar and active missile seekers, so they're once again extending the combat. Also, gun lead indicator will no longer be available for aerial targets in the TWS mode, same as for the target area set to the ground. The indicator is now available on distances up to 1.5 kilometers. Target tracking is now smoother when the lead indicator is activated. Its mode is now displayed as auto in the HUD, which is probably a good idea, because otherwise the gun lead indicator would just ping all over the place. It's one of the issues I had when I was trying to lock missiles using the TWS thing. It would obviously shift target, and so would the missile head, so it was a little bit hard to kind of follow. In order to make the characteristics of all missiles more authentic, their induced drag has been significantly increased. This results in increasing energy drop in maneuvering, as well as low-speed flight. Maximum fire range in the frontal hemisphere and on crossing collision courses will be reduced. The efficiency of induced oscillation of enemy missiles by maneuvers in long-range air combat will increase. We'll have to see how much that actually affects them, but hopefully that means that the very potent missiles are not as potent as they used to be. The Key 21-1A and the Key 21-Hey, the separate bomb drop has been added, same for the BE-6, which is nice. They changed the targeting angles on some of the turrets of the A-26s, and also the BF-110G. They fixed a bug where the gun pod was displayed after mounting the incendiary bombs. Then the BF-110 G2 and G4, the incorrect bomb icons in the secondary armament menu have been fixed as well, which is great, and the Z-10, the takeoff weight has been reduced to 5,540 kg. One of the things to actually know is the first helicopter for the Chinese, the Z-11WA, I've actually had a really good time in. It's been super fun. Basically, it has, obviously 2 stock HJ-8As. You can unlock 4 of them, which is quite nice. And then obviously the thermals are quite good on the vehicle as well. So not a bad starter vehicle. Probably not as good as the Alouette though. The Lynx AH Mark 1 and G-Lynx, the wander of the autopilot in the hover mode has been fixed, so it just kind of wanders around. The K-50, K-52, K-29, Wasp, and also Scout, the wobbles in level flight have been fixed, so obviously a shaky pilot. And then also the MiG-23BN, the fuel weight has been increased by 140 kgs, dry weight has been reduced for the vehicle, so there's also that going on. For naval, the Imperatrice Maria, the traverse limits of the 2nd and 3rd main caliber turrets that previously allowed firing through the superstructure have been fixed, and the Dulio, the good old Dulio, the lifeboats have been hidden to widen the traverse angles of the 37mm guns on the stern superstructure. The Newport News, the armor of the mantlets of the stern main caliber turret have been corrected too. The targeting speed of the Truan has been changed as well, basically lowering it, even though they were already pretty low. The Truan first order ammo rack has also been increased though from 17 to 30, which is quite nice, and the 155mm/50 Model 20 gun, the shell parameters have been adjusted. The tail fuse HE round name has been fixed as well, and the type of the semi-AP round change from SAPC-BC to SAP-BC is there too. The velocity of the tail fuse HE round has also been increased by 6 meters per second. And then once again, sound-wise, they've changed a bunch of the little machine guns. We talked about this yesterday in the Datamine, and also the Macarver engine as well. They also fixed a bug when helicopters with radar and inclometer was missing. So that's there now. And the distance selection for ground vehicles in the protection analysis has been reduced to 2,000 meters. Previously, armor penetration wasn't considered at distances above 2,000, despite the possibility of selecting a larger distance in the interface. So basically it was a placebo. Also other changes, the momentary visual zooming of the model when switching between two similarly sized ships has been fixed, and a bug that could cause the game to freeze when trying to join the next battle has been fixed too. One of the causes of the in-game browser hanging has been fixed, and also a bug that might cause armored vehicles to appear too bright in the thermal sight has been fixed again. So this is the second time this bug has been fixed. Hopefully it's fully fixed now, because all I gotta say is, you know, I'm getting real tired of like, hey guys, you see this thing? Yeah, it's fixed, and oh, it's not fixed, oh, and now it is again. So hopefully this is the last time we hear that one, because that is a very annoying bug. There was also a bug that caused the fire extinguisher prompt not to be displayed. Yep, I had that a few times too. Lost a few allies to that one, just watching them burn to death. And then also on the Xbox Series X, a game freeze when trying to watch a server replay has also been fixed, which obviously is good. So a ton of really nice changes here. You know, we'll have to see how this affects a lot of high-tier SAMs. Obviously some big buffs to a lot of them. When it comes to their engagement ranges, don't know how much it'll actually affect them because of the whole, you know, missiles not really going to those ranges, but who knows. At least it means when targets are coming in, you know more where they're coming from. As always, hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Kupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R., and Lafouche for supporting the channel.